Hey everybody, been getting a lot of emails about the bands. Not surprised, they're going to be kick-ass and take names. Um, Sorry it's taken me so long to get them out, but I took what I had in the past and did like changes to them, and it just never kind of turned out the way I wanted. And then let's just kind of redo this whole thing and start all over from scratch and go back to the very, very original code when I first built the very first set of non-recalculating, uh, non-recalculating and not, or what some call non-repainting bands. The proper term is non-recalculating, meaning that once that bar closes, so let's just give a little class on bands real quick, meaning that bar is the last closed bar. This is the current organic bar that's still in operation, still plotting till it's completed. So what non-recalculating, no repainting bands means is from this point back, nothing ever shifts or changes its positions. It's locked. It's called fixed plot. Whether it's my faster set adaptive price bands or my bigger picture set. What's happening on this bar until it's closed, I don't care, because in the bands, we're locking it down that it doesn't calculate every tick, but on bar close. So nothing's going to happen with the next little extension of the band, one little segment until that bar closes. So now people in the past and from the FX world use, what was that? The Mustafa Belkayet, the MBFX system. He used COG bands, center of gravities. Those suckers repaint, they're nasty. Can you build a system around them? Sure you can. And then the TMA bands came out. That was the rage. Everybody thought it was a holy grail, and it's not, because the traditional, typical TMA bands recalculate. I mean, it's in the code. You can see it in the code when something recalculates. There's very specific code. So anyhow, I don't put out any repainting, recalculating crap to the public, because all they'll do is cry about it, even though some of those tools have some really unique capabilities. But it's not worth it going through 42.7 emails a day. Your bands recalculate. I want my money back. That kind of stuff. It's just, I don't need it. Um, so anyhow, and I'm just, I'm kind of having fun. That's more of kind of like what you see in the lower end FX forums, that kind of speak and discussions. But so anyhow, our bands will be fixed plot, no recalculating. Now I will say that's when running them live. So when you're running the bands live and you got live feed, they work. There is an issue with NinjaTrader 8. If I suddenly lost data feed and then the feed comes back online, then the bands from the current bar back get refilled with not the data that actually happened, but the historical backfill data, which is not the full data that took place bar by bar in real life. So the bands can change their plot a bit. Now, a person can spend the money and put it into the bands just for NinjaTrader 8 to have a big ass huge file that's being collected at all times for the 200 and some bar look back, that if I lost data feed connection and then it came back on, that the bands then can hold the plot that they held live and not get tainted by the historical backfill. It can go read the data that you saved. Now, I think that's absolutely insane to add that to the indicator and that complexity. And in the end, it doesn't serve any purpose to me, because all I care about is, what do I see right now? I don't care what it looked like back here. If I need to know what it looked like back here, I'll go run the bands in replay on historical data through a period of time, and whatever it showed there is exactly what happened live. As long as the what's happening real matches up with the historical replay run through, I'm good to go. So anyhow, that's my little soapbox discussion on bands. So what I was actually going to get to in the video, because I'm getting ready to go watch the Minnesota Vikings play Jacksonville at noon Central. See if my Vikings can win another one and be, what are we, 6-2 now? Go to 7-2. So what I was going to talk about now, I've also in and amongst about 50 some emails on bands and bands discussions in the last since I put out these videos. I'm also suddenly getting a barrage of questions about prop firms and the failure of FTT. Now, we could have a whole 15-minute video on FTT. Out of the gates, I loved FTT's model. I hope somebody duplicates it so I can trade live. I would not be surprised if Apex adds, no evaluation like you're trading live right out of the gates. There's definitely regulatory stuff that's about to hit from all the chatter I'm hearing. What I will say though, and I moved away from Apex when they had their turmoil. What I will say, I got to give credit to Apex. They went through the storm. They got hit really hard by very sharp traders around the world. There's that one trader that they even talk about. He had 232 accounts all doing the same thing. Now, shame on you, Apex, for not seeing that. Signed up with like somebody 2 blocks down the street from the first guy, and then the other person signed up. That all these accounts were signed up on bizarre credit cards and, all within a general vicinity of each other. And my understanding is in the Eastern Europe area. So, hey, there's some really sharp people over there when it comes to programming and stuff. Could they go in and game the order fill engine on the simulated data feed or other things? Absolutely, and they did, and they ripped a lot of cash out of Apex. And Apex, because they're making so much money, they weren't really digging into seeing, hey, these people were paying out $7, 8, $900,000 a month to 1.2, 1.3 million. What the heck are they doing? And oh, by the way, their trade activity is the exact same as these other, 11 different sets of 20 accounts. So in the end, Apex cleaned things up. They went way too draconian, but I think they had to for self-preservation, really get a grasp on what's going on. And then now that they've gotten that education, they cleaned house internally, brought in some new people, and then I think very likely they've been talking with regulators too to make sure they're in alignment with the regulatory stuff coming down the pipe. They probably now have back to a better program than they've ever had. And I am going to start trading. I started trading Apex accounts where I had a month. I stopped using them. I just started trading 20 accounts again at the end of last week. So I'm back on board because I don't like elite trader funding at all. So if I got to trade 20, I got to trade somewhere. I'm kind of stuck with Apex right now until maybe some other firm brings in, 20 account capability. I love Take Profit Trader. I can have 550K accounts. I like them a lot. So people are saying, hey, what prop firm's safe? I don't have a clue which one's safe. I will say Apex weathered the storm. They've moderated their rules. They got rid of the DCA stuff, which was a stupid thing. They should have allowed that, just limited. But what they've gravitated for in rules is workable now. But FTT got game too. So FTT, they were so overwhelmed with the rapid growth. And then once they got behind the 8 ball on payouts, and that became too much of their focus, trying to play catch up, they missed paying attention to sophisticated groups hitting them. And they started paying out a lot of money to people that were taking advantage of the same type of stuff that was happening at Apex with them, and that's might have been some of the same people from the same crowd gaming the FTT system And what kills a prop firm is when their daily payout average becomes greater than their daily income average. It's just a matter of time, they're toast. And when FTT started getting hit and paying out huge, and I'm sure if they go back and look, they're going to realize that, 100 accounts on 5 different sets of 20 probably all have credit cards within a couple of miles of each other, and they're in this part of Eastern Europe or that part of Russia or this part of Eastern Europe. And I'm not saying anything bad about that part of the country. There's just some really high-end, very sophisticated groups over there that do high-end, sophisticated automation. And I know that. Back in the day when I built my first model for trading FX portfolios with directional grid trading, I was learning by all the FX brokers that were having these $50,000 FX account contests, and I was watching traders in a 30 trading day period ending with 600 and 700% returns on an account that started with 5K, and then there was one company once that had a 50K account. So you had to go open a 50K live account, trade in the contest, and one guy at the end of 30 trading days was at 1,478% return for that period. That was all-time record. I saw 7s to 900s many a times on the 5K accounts. But guess what? Some of these prop firms at the end of each day had a little file. You could go click next to the leaderboard and go download their order statements. So the statements that an FX firm will typically send out to you, they had their names and stuff covered out, but you got to see all their order activity. So right away, I learned, hey, these guys are directional grid trading. And they were also increasing their bet size as new thresholds of positive P&L were hit. So they were doing about every type of system that a person would typically use in like gaming, a gambling establishment. They were using it in automated, and it was obvious it was automated, that they were hitting these contests with very sophisticated directional grid systems. And it took a while to parse it all out and look at it, but then it was very apparent they are trading with the trend and they're adding to winners. And as their account grows, any new position that goes in for any type of the trade keeps growing in size. So it was just like a compounding rapid growth effect over a 30 trading day period. Now, when they did the month-long trading contest, it was only 21 trading days. A lot of times those would end around 350% gain. I think the highest one I ever saw was 408% gain in somebody that traded only 21 days, and they were trading 8 instruments. So the power of directional grid trading is there, especially if you trade in a dynamic way. Now, if you guys are familiar with D. Crown, the guy, the way he trades, that's very dynamic trading. I don't know a lot about him. I'm just saying that style of trading, that's what these guys were doing on those FX contests. So for prop firms, coming back to prop firms, FTT got killed by getting upside down in that payout to intake ratio. And the fact that they're slow on payouts just made it worse and worse and worse. So, they basically got toasted. I think Apex has learned a lot. They should be solid and go into the regulatory period that's about to hit and be fine. I like Take Profit Trader. Obviously, Top Step Trader has been around forever. I just don't care for the program. That's just me. My Funded Futures, I don't care for their program. Doesn't mean it's bad, but my two favorites right now, at least the ones I'm trading, are Apex and Take Profit Trader. And then as far as trade copiers go, other than Replicanto, take a look at Affordable Indicators. He has a good trade copier. And then ETP. So just Google ETP trade copier and their company listing will pull up. So there you have it. I'll have more announcements today on the program changes ahead, the additional items we're adding to the mix. You guys have a great day, and look for more updates and info later in the day at the Grid Algo YouTube channel.